It's not work, it's fun. When you enjoy what you're doing, it's no more work.
If then the train becomes our meeting room, our office for a day, then it's a complete different offering.
Pillow fight for me, it's a kind of a trust.
What were they thinking? The stories behind Europe's most promising clean mobility startups. Hello, my name is Dan Sobowitz, and in this new podcast, I'll be talking to some very successful startup entrepreneurs, women and men who are disrupting mobility as we know it. They're making it more sustainable and more inclusive, both for their passengers and for their employees. In this podcast, I won't be asking them about their pitch decks or their growth rates or their shareholder models. I'm much more interested in what were they thinking. How did it feel to go the lonely road of an entrepreneur? Did people follow them easily, or did they think they were crazy? Was it fun all along, or mostly frustrating? And deep down, did they really believe they were going to make it this far? Previous episodes, I spoke with founders of Vapaus from Finland, Wanda from Norway, Rail AI from France, and Clearly from the UK. And this time, I have in the studio with me the founders and leadership of Stellar, a startup from Luxembourg, ensuring internet connectivity of cars, buses, and trucks. So, I have three co-founders with me. Instead of introducing you, I'd like to invite you to introduce yourselves because you're based in Luxembourg, but you each come from somewhere else. Maybe we start with you, Damien.
Hi, Dan. I'm Damien. I'm very happy to be here. I come from the countryside of the west of France, in a place where connectivity is already an issue.
So even in your introduction, you're already thinking about your pitch. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Next to you, Anela, CCO co-founder from Germany. You want to introduce yourself?
Thank you, Dan. I'm Anela, and I spent my whole life in the automotive industry because I love fast car. I love driving, but I love as my car is connected as my phone.
And I love German cliches. What is it about Germans and cars and connectivity and speed?
Yeah, it's a kind of adrenaline, if a kind of power what we like. And I think, yes, I fulfill all the German cliches. And I'm proud to be a German.
If I may add something, I think that Anela is really not a German cliche. She could be French in so many ways.
Yeah, just before we started recording, she was saying she was French at heart. But we'll get to that in a moment. But first, let's introduce also your third co-founder, Hassan.
So I'm Hassan. I spent half of my life in France, but with roots in the south of Morocco in the Atlas Mountains.
And then of all places, you ended up in Luxembourg.
The company, yes, indeed, developed in Luxembourg. But the idea that coming from Germany, from Morocco, from France, there are so many touch points, so many commonalities that we've been experiencing as kids. That's also the common line that we have together at Stellar today.
So indeed, this has happened to all of us. We're driving across borderless Europe. Suddenly we realize we changed countries because we lost our internet connection. If you're on the phone, you probably realize it faster even because your call gets disconnected. It takes a few more minutes until we start roaming and the phone catches a new connection. So you have a solution for that.
Yep, indeed. We have a solution for that. We have a solution that is meant to turn the way we move into a way where we feel connected, where we feel useful, where we can still enjoy our digital life if we want to on the go. So it's true for cars, it's true for trains, it's true for bus, trucks. It's really meant to help the society as a whole and human as individuals to make sure that they will be still close to their friends and family, even if they have to take a long train between, say, Paris and Berlin.
So it's for cars, it's for trains, it's for basically any means of transport, ensuring connectivity.
It's for anything that has wheels.
So before we dive into your stories and not just that of the company, just to understand what is the added value here for climate, for environment, because you recently won the European Startup Prize for Mobility, which showcases the most promising startups, first and foremost, that can contribute to fighting climate change. So how does connectivity help us fighting climate change?
Yeah, so I think we're helping on different battlefronts. The first front is that we are helping people to adopt trains rather than to go on the cars or to go on the plane. With Hassan, most recently, we've been taking a 10 hours long train between Paris and Berlin, and the connectivity was just awful. So it was not a way for which we could be useful at work for that day. If then the train becomes our meeting room, our office for a day, then it's a complete different offering. It's a complete different proposals. And then obviously we'll be even more happy to go on the train next time. So that's the first level. Bringing people toward means that are slower than planes, to be clear, but that will be connected, so it's actually not a waste of time the way it is today. The second element is that we are making sure that we're tapping on each and every existing network. Would it be cellular, 3G, 4G, 5G? Would it be Wi-Fi? Would it be satellite? So we're not asking anybody to build more infrastructure, waste precious natural resources to build additional base stations for cellular networks, let's say, or launching additional satellite. We can do marvels with what we have today.
But the infrastructure you're going to add to the car is not going to require more resources?
Actually not, because it's only a software. It's only pure brain intelligence put into a software that is using all the existing equipment within the car.
Okay, enough for the moment about Stellar. Let's talk about you. How does a French man from southwest of France, a German lady, and a Franco-Moroccan meet and start a business together? Where did the three of you meet, actually?
Yeah, so with Damien, we met 23 years ago.
How many? 23?
23 years ago.
We're not even born.
Yeah.
Thank you for saying that.
And it was on a very exciting project. Not as exciting as what we do at Stellar, but still it was Skybridge. It's the ancestor of all the broadband LEO constellations, satellite constellations we hear about today. And Anela, we met her for Stellar. And the first day it felt we know each other for just as much. The connection happened instantly.
So you were the third, Anela, to join the...
I was the third one, yes. During this time I was at Porsche, and this was a link between us about the investment. And I remember very well on the first call together with Damien, we had the bad connectivity.
That's true.
We couldn't talk so much at the first time.
Wait, was he driving?
No, I was not driving. I think it was a normal issue. And then I was driving to Paris, and we shared so many common thoughts about the business, about the challenges in the space industry and in the automotive industry, and what we could put together to create a better and more sustainable way in the new mobility, because there are many other things than cars.
So Hassan and Damien already started Stellar. You're still working for Porsche.
Yeah.
You were talking because they were looking for your investment, and you decided to change camps and to jump on this.
Actually, we created the company, and then Anela came at the creation of the company. But something I'd like to add is that for us, it was really a chemistry that happened. So it's quite difficult to describe it. I'm a space engineer, so I'd like to have things that are really clear on paper. There is something that I could not express other than saying the chemistry was there from the get-go together, the three of us. She came to Paris once, and that was it. Okay, it was obvious.
Chemistry from the start. You joined, you're a co-founder. Speaking of chemistry, I hear you have some strange habits when you travel, the three of you.
Do we?
You look very innocent with the way you look at me now, but what does the term pillow fight mean to you?
So it's not only when we travel, it's actually a way of being a stellarian, as we like to call ourselves.
Stellarians.
A stellarian, absolutely.
A real
it's a badge of honor, let me tell you.
A real stellarian, it's a good pillow fighter.
So it's like Klingons, you have your own... So when you do a pillow fight, is that a sign of affection or sign of... when you throw a pillow at me, should I take it as a compliment?
So absolutely. For me, a pillow fight is really a way to actually argue with someone, but in a soft but playful way, okay? And this is one of the things that happen, but they're really, weak signal. It's small things, but then we realized it was something that was capturing really the essence of the way we are operating at Stellar. So Laurent, one of the Stellarians, threw a pillow one day, and then we started that pillow fight.
In the office.
We had a lot of fun.
In the office.
In every office, in a showroom, in a recording room. And let me say, pillow fight for me, it's a kind of a trust. So we trust each other. We have fun, and we hit with a pillow, but no one will damage by this.
Nobody ever got hurt.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's a fight. We're arguing. We disagree.
Okay, I just need to describe to the listeners that the three of you look totally normative. We spent dinner last night. These seemed like normative human beings. They go to work, they probably pay their taxes, they have families, but they do pillow fights as part of their work. So good chemistry. How long did it take between the first time you met until first you joined the business and then the first pillow fight?
A few months.
Few months?
Yeah.
Just to build that pillow fight atmosphere.
Yeah, and now I think we're extending now the reach of the fights. I mean, snowball fights, we just realized because we're in Finland today and snowing, they're really good as well. And so in terms of, team exchange, let's put the winter times and the snowball fights as well on our list.
Jokes aside, at this point, I should also mention that the startups participating in this podcast are those who won this year's edition of the European Startup Prize for Mobility, which is Europe's largest acceleration program for clean mobility startups. The Startup Prize is a private-public initiative which brings together all major EU institutions, national authorities, philanthropies, and multinational companies who jointly scout, rank, and boost Europe's most promising clean mobility startups. This year, the Startup Prize received over 700 applications from mobility startups from all across Europe who went through a rigorous selection process, both written and in front of a professional jury. The prize connects the winners with its partners for investment and partnerships, presents them with VCs and CVCs, and provides them with visibility across Europe. And we actually, you mentioned the snow, we are recording this episode in Helsinki as part of our tour, which brought us to Slush in Finland. To learn more about all the startups, visit startupprize.eu.
We highly encourage any startup on mobility in Europe to participate to this thing. I mean, this is godsend. This is wonderful what we've been enjoying and benefiting from as a company. Honestly, in terms of visibility, in terms of access to the ecosystem, would it be partners, investors, but also peers, other founders, it's remarkable.
There was a good vibe, in Helsinki. We were having fun.
We are having fun.
We're having fun as we speak, as we are recording this. No, but I'm interested actually. What was the most significant thing you got out of winning the Startup Prize? You said visibility, but then which of the partners were you in touch with?
So we have Roland Berger helping us.
Good news. What we will do, we will help the 3 winners. In fact, what we are going to dedicate 3 directors of Roland Berger that are mobility experts.
We also are talking to a number of companies I cannot disclose because of NDAs that we are signing with them. But clearly, the solution that we're proposing is touching so many partners on their operations because there are car fleets, because they have connectivity issues for their collaborators. So this is really something we can do together.
Okay, now it's definitely music to my ears to hear that it's useful and it's impactful. It's a lot of work behind the Startup Prize, so it's good to hear that it's actually serving the purpose. To go back to your journey, so the 3 of you come together. Yeah, go on, Damien.
Sorry, I'm taking the microphone too much, but I'd like to share a story and then I shut up. Okay.
Damien, we both know you won't, so don't make false promises here. Okay, go on.
Okay, the story is the following. My father has been super active for Europe. In the 50s, he organized a European festival in Stuttgart where the youth over Europe gathered to celebrate peace, to celebrate Europe as a concept for the future. And so when I went on stage in Brussels for the final, and I sent a picture of the hemicycle saying, I'm in Europe, Dad, and I'm thinking about you, he was so proud.
So just to put it in context, the final ceremony of this year's edition, the 5th edition, took place inside the European Parliament in Brussels. So yeah, it wasn't an easy production to do an event inside the Parliament, but it was very symbolic, and that was the reason why we chose to do it inside the Parliament, because it does represent European values. First, it's about startups in one European country doing business across borders, so going out of their comfort zone and scaling from one country to the next, but also about sustainability and about inclusion, which we consider to be European values.
So once everybody gets on stage, the Vice President. All right, so as everybody's making their way to the stage, thank you, jury members, evaluators.
And so you are asking, what are the benefits? Obviously, there are benefits for Stellar, but I can tell you, and I'm not the only one here, I've been also hearing from other founders from the top 10 that their families are also realizing how advanced the companies are, thanks to the USB.
How many are you today, Stellarians?
10.
And when was the moment when you realized, the three of you at least, that you were onto something big, that this was actually going to work, that this was on the right track?
So for me, it's from the first 5 minutes of the call with Damien.
How do you do that, Damien? You talk to people and they just follow you?
No, but with Hassan, we have a long-term relationship. We know each other, and we actually serve for 23 years now. So in 5 minutes, there are already 23 years of trust.
Okay, so you knew exactly, you already have telepathy. He spoke to you about this concept, you said, I'm in.
And the concept itself, it speaks for itself. I mean, building a connectivity solution that will transform the automotive and the transport industry, you don't need hours to understand when you are on something.
It's true, but we do know that statistics are against startups. And even if you have the most brilliant idea, the valley of death is there. Most startups will not make it. What gave you the confidence that this was going to work?
Of course, the risk is always there, but you generally sense opportunity in risk, and how much also what you're doing is aligned with your values, with your vision. The reason I went into space communications is because I believe that telecoms change people, and I saw it firsthand in some countries in Africa where we deployed satellite to do backhauling of cellular coverage. And when we arrive in some villages, we have people around us thanking us for bringing connectivity to them because it changed their life. And Stellar is taking that to even a bigger scale, where the impact would be much bigger, and it will amplify the way telecoms are helping people in all their lives, and now extending to helping them enjoy in a much better way, transportation.
Alina, for you and Porsche, when you decided to leave, I presume a comfortable, stable, safe job and jump on this boat, how did people around you react?
Different reactions: proud, surprising.
Nobody thought you were crazy?
No, not really. They understand very well that something big, which is very creative, can develop together with us. And I felt a very proud moment when we tested our first software solution on the Hockenheim Ring on a racetrack with a race car, and to see it will happen. And there was a second moment now. So we developed our global, our new product, our new retrofit product, and I could hold this in my hand. It's real, it's not a rendering. And I know it will work.
Of seeing it coming to life. So there was no hesitation for you. Am I doing the right thing? Is it going to fail? Is it totally crazy? Like it sounds almost natural for you. Like you found the right technology, there was good chemistry. Okay, I move on. Like as easy as that?
Yeah, let me say it's my second startup. Mm-hmm. I know there are always risks. Mm-hmm. In any company, in big companies and small companies and startups. And if you see a risk as a challenge, this gives you a new chance. Yeah. It's a good way.
Was it as simple for you as well, gentlemen? I mean, did you also have to leave safe jobs in order to take that risk here?
Yeah, I had a very comfortable, very exciting job before, also in telecoms and space. But Stellar was just another level of challenge, of excitement, of also potential impact. But then the risk becomes small. There is no absolute risk. You compare it to the potential that comes with it.
You have, at least you, Damien, you have a family.
Yes. And just to add on what Hassan said, so my rational mind, when I had to make the choice, was really clear. There is a clear technological solution that is identified, challenging, but also really rewarding. Mm-hmm. There is also a market that is expressing its needs. And, when I was talking to car manufacturers at that time, they were saying, look, Elon Musk is doing it again. Not with electric car that we can do as well, but with connected cars, because he had this satellite constellation called Starlink. So he can connect his Tesla cars with satellite. And the Chinese are doing the same, actually. Geely has a constellation program called G-Space, and they want to use these satellite constellations only for the benefit of their group. So basically to have one step ahead of the competition. So to me, it was really the eureka moment when I said, okay, if the market is able already to understand the value of what we could do using satellite, doing it hybrid, then we're really onto something.
I would say now the risk is behind us because we had some fantastic feedback, and one of them is from a CEO of one of the largest car manufacturers who tried firsthand our solution on board a car, moving in a rural area while doing multi-party video call, and the video call went smooth. And for him, that's the next step for connectivity on cars.
So this is how you convince your potential clients and investors? You send them on a ride, and you instead of sitting next to them, you're just connecting on a call, and you're just saying, if you don't hear me, then we have a problem. But as long as maybe you can count throughout the call to 100. If you skip a number, then I'm fired.
So that could be a way. I like the idea.
It's a bit boring. They might fall asleep as well. Maybe think of a story, not counting. But no, but seriously. So I mean, this is how they get convinced. They just go through a car. They do the same ride that they've done a million times. That they always get disconnected, and now, it works, and they're happy.
So the reality is it's the best argument to convince your customers and to convince your investors. That's not just a PowerPoint slide. It's a product.
Not to be obsessed on the risk factor, but I have to tell you that in the previous episodes, I did spend time with the other entrepreneurs, and most of them said that they did have that anxiety and people around them telling them that it's insane. And here, I put myself in this position that I'm one and you're three, and I'm wondering if I'm crazy or the three of you are. Because you make it sound so natural. Yeah, I just left my job at Porsche and I jumped on someone I'd met on the phone. There was good chemistry. He seemed nice, so I gave up my career and I said, this needs to work. But for most of the people, it's not that obvious.
You're right. Anela, she's a second co-founder. She had a startup beforehand. She knew what the risks were. And I believe that, at least for myself, but in the discussion we had together, Hassan, I think we were both clear that we had the right to fail. And it was important to start with that mindset because coming from France, you always have to be perfect. At school, you can always do better, right? So this failure thing brings a lot of French people to think that it's better not to do it because you may risk to fail and then to be ashamed. So this is why thinking about, okay, we'll try, and we have really a good shot. Let's just do it. Let's try this. Is the right mindset to approach this huge risk amount. Yes, indeed.
But I presume you're privileged enough in your personal capacity to be able to take the risk. You had some kind of a buffer to know that if it fails, you will move on.
I mean, you can always
You
move
started
on.
relatively late in your lives. You were already comfortable.
Absolutely. There is these aspects as well, but I also have a family to take care of. I have to provide a roof and a food.
What did your wife say?
It's an excellent question because before me embarking into that, I had a discussion with my wife, my children, but also my parents and family.
Let's now put them in camps. Who was in favor? Who was against?
So no, honestly, it's been a long discussion.
He's afraid. He's afraid they would listen to the podcast.
We just want you to know that my life will radically change. It's been a comfortable life for some time. I've been a salaryman for 20 years. Then I've been a consultant for the new space, which is basically the startup in space for some time. It's been a fantastic balance between the money and the time. But now I will completely shift it. I will do it differently, and you'll see me probably less, but you'll see me probably very excited and happy about the things that I'm really performing on.
So it's your first startup?
Yes.
Okay, how did they react to this dramatic Hollywood speech?
They cried. No, of course not. No, they were happy.
I love you, Daddy. Don't go. I'll always support you.
No. I mean, they were cool with that, and they because I was saying, we have the right to fail. So maybe in 6 months I will come back and say, you know what, I have more time. But they say, yeah, go for it.
Daddy's unemployed.
But it's actually good to have this ability to say, I'm unemployed, and then what? I'm happy, I'm with you, and I have already a gazillions number of ideas I'd like to continue on.
And do you indeed work much more than you did before? Yeah? All three of you? I mean, you still have time for pillow fights, so...
It's not work, it's fun. When you enjoy what you're doing, it's no more work.
No, but time spent?
Time spent, yeah.
And time left for other things, like family. I mean, there is a limited
of
time
course,
resource.
yeah.
I want to talk about the first investors. So you present the idea to investors. You just spoke about potential clients, that you showed it to them, it works, but we are now jumping forward. You already have something, a product that works. But before reaching that level of development, when you just had a concept and you go with that to investors, how do they react?
And this is also really part of the DNA of Stellar. We've been lucky enough to have very early on, super early actually, a car manufacturer. We cannot disclose which car manufacturer, but the big
you
car
keep teasing and you
manufacturer.
never give us the names. A
Yeah.
big CEO, a big car manufacturer, and you never tell me who is who.
There is a reason why we cannot disclose this.
Yeah,
obviously, it's strategic to them. So it's really something where we cannot go into details and publicly claim names. But in terms of this relationship, it's been so helpful to Stellar because we had an investor early on, but we also had an industrial partner that was able to convey to us all the pain points, all the challenges. And we've been working hand in hand. I mean, the tech team, they're talking literally every day. Today, we're pushing the boundaries together with them. And now, because we've been so performative on the Hockenheim Ring in 2022, other car manufacturers are coming along saying, I'm interested by what you're doing.
If you tell me that it was not only your family and your colleagues who supported you, but also investors and clients just came along the way, I'm starting to rub my eyes and say this must be too good to be true. Because the stories I've been hearing from startups in the last episodes, for everybody it was a struggle. And to you, it sounds like it's just super easy.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think that you see here probably the mindset that we have at Stellar. We obviously had the tough moments. We had the moments where we wanted to drop the towel. But what we keep now in mind are the positive elements. The fact that we've been supported by the families, that we had investors early on, that we've been able to gain additional customers. This is really, it's not focusing on the roadblocks, it's focusing on the way.
It was not a super easy way, and it's not a super easy way. I think the challenge is, how do you see this? Do you see, if it's not easy, you will not go this way, and you see it in a negative way, then you struggle all days? Or you see, okay, there are some risks, but I can do a good risk management. There are some challenges. Okay, I will improve myself. I will improve what we can deliver from the team. If you see this in a positive way, then you remember on the positive things. And I think that's the content now.
And the reactions you're getting from the clients and the investors are also
They were not always say, "Hurrah, Stella is there." Yeah, there are many questions, and sometimes there was an investor not from our area. They didn't understand our concept.
So what's the current challenge? What are you trying to achieve now? Are you already comfortable with funding the clients, or are you still trying to get more?
What was good is that the positive feedback on the project. I think also the team created the confidence on capability to execute. That doesn't mean it's easy to get money on the bank or orders from customers. It's a journey. The big challenge in that respect for investment is Stellar started in the period just post-COVID, so it was not the easiest period to go meet people. It's also money is less easier to have, so there is challenge. But the good thing is the product makes sense, the market is there, and people believe in it.
So what's the next challenge now? What are you trying to achieve? 2024 is going to focus on what?
So it's the two things. Of course, continuing to get the investment we need to accelerate and ramp up our development, continue on the product, and embark in customers. So it will continue to be an ongoing challenge in the development of a company. We're still an early stage startup, and a lot is still ahead of us. And we did major achievements so far, and that gives us basically the fuel to continue pushing, and we know we are on the right direction.
So investors, clients being mainly OEMs.
So
or train companies.
We have OEMs, which is, let's say, the big market, the strategic type of customers, but we're also pushing for shorter term customers, as we are launching our first product in May next year for retrofit. So that covers the buses, the camper vans, the trucks and potentially fleets of cars.
By the way, planes and boats also, or no?
It's much easier for planes and trains because they do not suffer from this moving environment that a vehicle go through. Imagine, going through in Helsinki, you have actually canyons because of the buildings, so you cannot see the starlight in cities. But in the rural areas, we all know this, the cellular coverage is patchy at best. You also have trees. You have so many things that are changing when you're driving a car. When you're on a plane, you basically are below the clouds or above the cloud. That's it. You have no blockage the way you can face a blockage for a vehicle on the road. Same.
And you have more place for the antennas, the batteries for the energy consumption, something like this. Everything is limited in a car.
I'd like to add something on what you said, Anela, regarding what we want to do for 2024. Anela, I think you really highlighted well the mindset on which we're really nurturing on. We're often checking on each other about our mindset. When we have a team call, we're really also opening the mic on things that we'd like to share regarding positive or negative things. So this is really something that we are really putting a lot of emphasis on. We will grow in 2024. How do we make sure that this mindset also remain for our next 10 Stellarians? To me, it's really a question. How do we make sure that we still are as happy as we are today, as you can tell, apparently? How we can make sure that this will happen for the 10 next one within Stellar? It's really something
you
that...
mean the 10 employees or the next 10 that you're going to hire?
The next 10 or the next 100. And that's
really
a huge
this
challenge.
Change management. We really want to have this mindset within Stellar to remain and to actually grow. So how do we do that?
Do you ask your potential candidates if they're happy?
So it's interesting. You want to share what you're doing for that?
Yeah, we have a hiring process and we have a structured interview. We worked a lot on this interview because for us it's very important that we get the right specialists with the right knowledge and experience, but with the trust and with this positive mindset to see a risk as a challenge and a chance.
And how do you do that? Is there some kind of a pillow fight exercise of saying how
it's a virtual pillow fight.
Don't scare your candidates too much on the first interview. Maybe keep it to the third round, telling them that you do pillow fights in the office.
Good idea, by the way. Yeah? The last round should be a pillow fight.
Oh no, I should not have said that. I should not have said that to these people.
Are there some pillows in this studio?
No, there are no. Okay, this studio has no pillows. I made sure in advance before you walked in that there are no pillows in the studio.
How sad is that?
What should I wish you for the next for 2024 or for the next 2.5 years? What would be success? Ooh, now for the ones I managed to make them pause and think. Usually they shoot right away. What would be success for Christmas 24? What do you want to get?
So with my Moroccan background, so at Stellar we are more than just a startup or a company. For me, we are a family, and a success of a family is to expand and to grow.
That was, if we had the German cliche before, now we have the Moroccan cliche. So the family might grow. Nobody's getting pregnant, I presume, but so it means more hiring, more clients, more funding, basically growth.
Well, our babies are our products. Yeah. So, yeah.
So maybe next year it will walk by its own.
Yes.
So when I answer as a German, I get a lot of gifts. And gifts could be a lot of customers, could be a lot of projects, could be the right investors. The investor is not just the investor who put in money in us, who help us in a strategic way, for example. Yeah, open us new challenges.
Yeah, for me, success would be for a customer of ours coming back to us saying that thanks to what we did, thanks to the box, the global that we provided to them, their operations are different. They are making it happen. They are suddenly are efficient. They're because they're connected, they can do things differently, more efficiently, more sustainably. This is really the kind of things I'm looking forward to have at the end of 2024.
Advice, because for the three of you, leaving your comfortable jobs was not such a terrible dilemma. There was nobody pushing you not to jump on that wagon. You just did it. An advice to somebody, and I'm sorry for insisting on this risk element, An advice for someone who's debating whether it's the responsible thing to do for them, if it's the appropriate, the right moment, and if they're doing the right thing.
The advice would be to keep the head out of water, not to get drawn into the process, and keep the eyes on the target. But keep the radars wide open and be flexible to adjust, depending how the target looks while you are getting closer to it. Maybe there are other targets, maybe the target is different, but not to get drawn in the process and forget the end goal.
So my advice would be create a good team culture. So many startups look about the investors, the products, the customers, timelines, and so many things. And sometimes they forget that they are a team and that they have a hidden champion in the room. And that's a trust, that's a purpose, that's a fun. And you cannot just create this culture. You have to give this culture water every day. And I think that's our secret sauce.
The advice I would have to give to anybody is sleep. Honestly, sleep as much as you can, any way you can, because sleep is such a great way to recover. Because there will be a hard time. Yeah, we're positive. We're really trying to have this mindset. But of course, the quantity of bad stuff and the frequency of bad stuff that happens to us is amazing compared to any corporates. Let's be clear about that. It's amazing. Still, if you sleep, you are able to think through, to let the mind be okay, to let the mind be at peace. And then the following day, in the morning, it's much easier.
What I like about this episode is that you always surprise me. I ask a question, I expect one thing, and you always manage to surprise me with your answer, but it's an excellent piece of advice to get more sleep.
And be clear, we talk a lot about sleep.
That's why the pillows.
Now
We don't say don't let the
Now
bed
don't
bugs
connect
bite
the
you. We
sleep,
say
the
have a
pillows.
pillow fight and sleep well.
On the pillow, exactly.
On the pillow.
This was Anela, Damien, Hassan from Stellar. Thank you very much to the three of you, and congratulations again for winning the European Startup Prize for Mobility. What were they thinking? The stories behind Europe's most promising clean mobility startups. Brought to you by the European Startup Prize for Mobility. You can find all episodes on your favorite podcast platform. I'm Dan Sobowitz. Stay connected, but drive carefully. See you next time.